Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your cup final, Erik ten Hag press conference reaction, injury updates. He's also said basically Newcastle are annoying and boring and time wasting. I love this manager. Time to get a bit spicy. Do you know what? I nearly said he's like an onion, Erik ten Hag. He's got so many layers. But an onion can make you cry. But he's also the ingredient to any successful meal. I'm thinking lasagna. But he has got layers. And I think anybody who thinks they know Ten Hag don't. Like, we're still learning. And I think he brings little bits into his personality almost each month. And what he's brought out today is the tiger. Ten Hag the tiger. You know, he's actually had a dig at Eddie Howe in Newcastle. It's not indirect. It's a dig. He's called them annoying and then clarified it by saying they time waste a lot. So, you know, that is insulting to Newcastle. So, look, we've got a game at the weekend, and I think he has got a character, like Sir Just Keevan said. And I think it's about, you know, you don't always have to play nice. Sir Alex was the master of this. You know, have a bit of a dig. And, you know, perfect. Absolutely great. But look, lots to get into. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Don't forget, tonight, 8 o'clock, Friday night show. We'll have a couple of, drink. It doesn't matter what you have to drink. It might be water. It might be something else. But we'll also do the preview for the cup final as well. So big up to the 8 o'clock show tonight. Ryan, thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club. Right, let's fly into it. So we're going to start off with a couple of injuries. Adam was actually in the press conference. United Stand, Adam, got a good couple of questions in. I didn't even know he was there. Bossbridge, didn't even know. We don't run that sort of a ship. You know, everyone's, you know, free to do their own thing, really. But he was in the press conference. He asked a couple of questions. His second question, Erik ten Hag character, says KMW. So Adam asking the question that we all want to know, really, you know, and he didn't get his question until about question 7, and nobody'd asked the question. So Adam just thought, you know what, I'm going to ask the question that the United Stand community wants. Is Martial fit to play at the weekend? Ten Hag, absolutely no. No, he's not available to play at the weekend. So Anthony Martial is back doing individual training. He's not going to be going to Wembley. He will not be playing in this game. I would therefore say on Martial, I don't think we're going to see him back for a while. I don't think he'll be back for West Ham. I might be wrong with that. I don't think he'll be... Maybe he'll be involved off the bench for Anfield, but I just get the feeling with Martial, he's come... I mean, look, last time he came back, we gave him half an hour against Forest and he was injured again. I almost feel that they're just going to train him for a week or two and just see if he gets injured again, because there's no point. He's not a player that you can bring back and see what happens. Most players come back from an injury, have a few training sessions, you stick them on the bench, you give them 20 minutes and they gradually come back. With Martial, you can't do that. I mean, Sean says he's finished. Look, I want Martial back. I think we're a better team with him. But I think Ten Hag's going to have to manage him in a very delicate way. So he won't be involved at the weekend. Whether he'll be back for West Ham or Liverpool, I doubt it. But we can monitor that. But it's good to ask those questions because it had been completely missed. What they did ask about was Marcus Rashford. And he said that, look, you know, to be honest with you, we've got to wait. I can't advise you on that at the moment. Now, that press conference with Ten Hag was lunchtime today. The match was last night. There's so many ways to read into that. I was listening to the radio today and they were saying, Marcus Rashford out of the Carabao Cup final. Would that equal it out because Pope's out? And I'm like, I don't want it equaling out. We need Marcus Rashford at the moment. The fact that Ten Hag has said we'll have to wait and see, you could be nervous about that because it could be scans, or you could be nervous about that because it could be swelling. I still stand by what I said this morning. I think that it didn't look bad. It looked like a knock. It looked like an impact. And therefore, you're probably dealing with swelling. It's a very quick turnaround to go from Thursday night to Sunday afternoon. You know, literally, you're talking 2 days from now. And the game was only last night. So, touch and go. But I think he'll be all right. I don't think this is something... I agree with Ryan Keogh. He'll play 100%. Because I don't think it's something like Eriksen where... you're going to send him for a scan and they're going to go, yeah, that's a season ender, or they're out for a month. It didn't look like it was knee, ankle, groin, anything like that. It looked like an impact, and therefore I think it's about getting the swelling down, and I think you can get that down. I mean, look, maybe he'll be off on the bench as 887 Kenny, but I don't get that impression. I think he will be okay, but look, Ten Hag, I'm not too concerned about Ten Hag saying we'll have to wait and see, because obviously, you know, it's so soon after the game. You don't want to say, yeah, he's definitely playing. In fact, can I just say one thing? In fact, I will, because there's no one here to stop me. In a mischievous element, maybe Ten Hag's being mind games. Exactly. Daniel Richardson's on the game. He's not on that game. He's not available for that. No, Daniel, he's on the ball. You're not on the game, Daniel. I retract that. But you're on the ball with that. I think you're right. I think that Ten Hag was very mischievous in this interview anyway. We'll talk about what he said about Newcastle in a minute. Why give Newcastle anything? Why let Newcastle know that Rashford's out or Rashford's in? Keep it on the old down low. And I expect Rashford to play, but why reveal that information anyway? But injuries. Martial's still out, and Rashford will have to wait and see. But I think he will be involved. I do. Let's fly into it then. So he was asked, away from injuries, what's it like to be involved in your first final? He said, look, it's a final. We play. In fact, can I just ask? I thought Adam asked a really good question about Martial. I thought he asked a really good question about rotation because it got a really good answer. Sometimes, I'll admit, even Adam's question, I was like, I don't know whether Ten Hag's going to understand that, because basically the question from Adam was, we're fighting in 4 trophies. You've used the squad. How important is that so that you can free up your more experienced players to play in the big games? For example, Varane didn't play against Leicester, but he's available for both Barcelona games. Casemiro was suspended. You can't do anything about that. Martinez missed games after the World Cup and then came back into the team. That's why we saw Luke Shaw. Ten Hag's done a really good job of rotating. I mean, obviously Bruno and Rashford haven't really been, but Luke Shaw, the centre-backs, obviously Casemiro got the rotation because of the suspension. We've seen some clever rotation, especially around the back 4 from Ten Hag, and basically that was Adam's question. Has that been really important to the success you've had? How much does Daniel charge, as Robert McCormack? So yeah, Adam said, has the rotation and giving experienced players breaks been crucial to the success that you've had over the last few weeks in rotating? And a good answer from Ten Hag, because it's not success. We haven't had any success. If we beat Newcastle on Sunday, that's success because we get a trophy. He said, we've had good results, but we've not had any success because we've not won anything yet. So success will be if we win on Sunday, that we can call success. But he said, look, we need a squad. You can't do it with 11 players. And also, it's not just about having a squad because of injuries and everything like that. An important factor is you also need a squad for tactics. I can't change things in a game if I don't have a squad. So rotation and having a squad is very, very important. And he's spot on. He's absolutely spot on, because if you think about the Leicester game, I know we were winning 1-0 at half-time, but they were the better team. Second half, we annihilated them. And if you look at the game yesterday, we're losing at half-time. We make changes, and second half we annihilate them. We made 1 sub against Leicester at half-time, and we made 1 sub against Barcelona at half-time, but we changed 4 players. Bruno went from the right wing to number 10. Sancho went from 10 to the left wing. Rashford went from the left wing up front, and then obviously Anthony came on the right. So he's right. Squad is not just about the most important thing, which is freshening things up if you've got injury. It also gives you the options to change tactics, and I think he's absolutely spot on there. So I thought it was a good question from Adam, but an even better response from Erik Ten Hag. And I think that. Yeah, well, as I say, I've said enough on that. On Newcastle, he was asked about what he thought about the Newcastle game. Now, this is where it got a little bit tasty, because he said, look, they've got a clear philosophy, Newcastle, and the key word with them is intensity. They're a very, very intense side. They're an annoying team, but we've got to play our own game. It's a different challenge to Barcelona. It's a great challenge, and we've got to find a way to win the game. He was asked for clarity on what he meant by annoying, and he said, well, time wasting. They're a time wasting side. They've got the lowest effective time in the Premier League, and what that means is they've got the lowest ball in play time than anybody else in the Premier League. So look, that's Erik Ten Hag calling them out for what they are in his mind. He sees Newcastle as an annoying team. He's basically called them time wasters, and it's clever. It's clever. I'm more and more, I'm seeing a real direct comparison between Erik Ten Hag and Sir Alex Ferguson. Nobody's the same. Nobody is the same. We won't get another Messi. We won't get another Ronaldo. But you might have players that have similar traits. And I think with Sir Alex Ferguson, I said it this morning, he came down from Aberdeen having had great success and no touch point with United and was very successful in building another United dynasty. Erik ten Hag comes from Ajax having had lots of success with no touch point with United and hopefully will build a United dynasty. But he's got this aura that he didn't have. You know, when we had Ten Hag's first press conferences in the summer, he would answer very briefly. You know, are you excited to get the job? Yeah. You know, but now he's bringing more out and he's playing. I've played the game and he's playing the game as well. He's playing the game with the media. He's very good with the media now, and he's also dropping things out there that he knows are going to resonate. Like Newcastle players, manager Eddie Howe, they'll hear that, and basically, let's be blunt, Erik ten Hag's calling them boring. That's what he's doing. Time wasting is boring. He's calling them annoying and boring. Now, Newcastle can either go, they can embrace that and go, yeah, we are really boring. We're anti-football. We're a boring footballing side. Or they can get riled and go, right, we're going to prove them, but we're not boring. I want to take them on. And then that plays into what Ten Hag wants to do. He wants them to play football. He wants them to come and have a go. He doesn't want them to time waste. So the ball is in Newcastle's court. They'll either open up, and that could come to our advantage, or they will time waste, and he'll go, they are time wasters. So it's very clever. You run the risk of poking the tiger, of course you do. In this case, the zebra, because they wear black and white. But ultimately, we need to be the lion, and we need to maul that tiger. And I know that sounds horrible, but ultimately, go and watch Wildlife on One, if they still do it, or David Attenborough. That's what lions do. They devour zebras. But if that zebra finds its way to the top of a bloody tree and won't come down, the lion just gets tired and hungry trying to get up there because they're boring. Jump back down and let's have a go. Zebra FC. But look, I think Newcastle are going to... Well, I'm going to do the preview at 8 o'clock. I'll say what I've got to say about Newcastle. But I certainly think Ten Hag is calling them time wasters publicly to undermine them and rile them because he wants to win this game of football. And, you know, every little bit counts. Newcastle will be nervous on Sunday. Nervousness can manifest itself in many ways. It can make you vulnerable. It can also make you unstoppable. But mind games are part of the game. I want to see more mind games in football. Anyway, I used to love Sir Alex doing this. I think Pep and Klopp over the last few years, I think Klopp's missed the trick. Everyone dances to Pep's tune. Give him a little bit. Poke him a little bit. You know, get at him a little bit. We know what Pep's like when the crowd don't turn up. We know what Pep's like when they get charged. He's a right little moaner. And no one ever has a pop at Pep. I hope if we get head-to-head with City, Ten Hag does respect Pep, but give him a poke. It really does make... They're human beings. They're not robots. If I'm Eddie Howe and he's called me a time waster, I'll be like, the bloody cheeky git. I'm working a miracle here. I'm working a bloody miracle up in the north, and he's calling me a time waster. I will say, no, Ten Hag, I'm not a... I'll show him. I'll show him on Saturday. Right, get him out on the training ground. We're doing some tikitaka shit. You know, it amazes me the lack of shithousery in football. And what that means is there is a gain. There is a gain to be had. I mean, I've played the game. You've played the game. You know, if you're playing someone on FIFA and you've got the headphones on and you score a goal and you're taking the piss out of them, you know you're getting in their head. When you're playing on a Saturday afternoon or, you know, Sunday morning pub team and you're playing against the striker and they're a bit good and they miss a chance, you get at them. You get at them. I think football has become a little bit diluted. I think it has become a little bit safe. And actually, I think managers... I loved what Conte and Tuchel did at the start of the season. They both got an FA charge. I'd have given them manager of the month. I love it. I love it when you get a bit of that competition. And I can only applaud Ten Hag for doing it because it gives us something to talk about. But I also think it's a clever way to get at an inexperienced team. I mean, look, the next question he was asked is, it's a 6-year wait for Manchester United to win a trophy. Is it important? Personally, I was waiting for Ten Hag to come back and say, well, a 6-year wait's not acceptable, but isn't it a 60-year wait for Newcastle? I mean, I don't think any of us were alive when they last won it. I would have done that. That would have been my instant reply, and I wonder if Ten Hag wanted to do it. Because the question was, it's a 6-year wait for Man United not to win a trophy. is there a bit of a pressure there? And he, he really should have got followed up time wasters with, well, at least we were all alive the last time United won a trophy. Yeah, last time Newcastle won a trophy. 50s. George Best was scoring for Manchester United. Yeah, I think, I don't take any pleasure in the fact that we've not won a trophy for 6 years. But let's be honest, we're playing a team that hasn't won a trophy for, I don't know. Should we have a look at Newcastle? I mean, I'm not mocking Newcastle here. I think unfortunately this will get taken the wrong way. I heard Dan Burn on Talk Sport today saying that Newcastle have got this mentality that everyone dislikes them, so they've got this siege mentality. I disagree. I don't dislike Newcastle. I think they're doing a great job. Obviously, they've got a lot of money, but it's like winning the lottery. They're not the first. I don't get where this Newcastle. Apparently, I'll ask the chat. Do you dislike Newcastle? I'm quite indifferent to Newcastle. I don't think they're a team I dislike. So Newcastle have won trophies. They've been runners up more time than winning it. But no, they won the FA Cup in 1955. They won the Charity Shield in 1909. They won the Texaco Cup in 1975. This is bantering them, isn't it? But they won the Intercities Fairs Cup in 1969. I mean, I don't. So, God knows what the Texaco Cup was. The Texaco Cup was the International League Board competition involving sides from England, Scotland, and Ireland that had not qualified for Europe. You're not having that. You're not having that. You're not having the Texaco Cup. You may as well be the bloody cup of tea. You may as well have a round of cup of teas. PG Tibbs. Texaco Cup. So the Texaco Cup was for teams that weren't good enough to qualify for Europe. So you're not having that. That was 75. The Intercities Fairs Cup was sometimes referred to as the European Fairs Cup, was a football competition played between 1955 and 1971. It's often considered the predecessor to the UEFA Cup. The competition was the idea of friendly games were regularly held between teams. Okay. It was sometimes referred to as the Runners-Up Cup. The competition, God knows what that's. Well, there you go. I think there's some credibility to that. So the last time they won a trophy was the Intercities Fairs Cup in 1969. So that would make 1969, 31, 54 years ago. Is that right? If you were born in... No. Yeah, you would be 50, 53, 54 years ago since they won something. Bit longer than 6. So I think the pressure's on them. Hi Mark, can't wait for Dublin. Love the Anthony video. Do you think the Barcelona win will help our tired players to push on to win this final? Erik ten Hag is a ledge. I'm going to talk about the tiredness on the preview tonight, Kevin. But I think you've got to take it into account. Can't really see Eddie Howe saying I will love it if we beat them. Just Glenn, he needs to get a pair of these on. In fact, my haircut's a little bit like Eddie Howe. We need to see Eddie Howe going. I tell you what. I've heard what that Ten Hag said about me being a time waster. Well, I'll tell you what, they've got to come to Wembley. We've not won a trophy since the Fairs Cup, but that was a great Newcastle side. Can you name it? No, I can't either. But I'm telling you, I'll love it. I'll love it if we beat that Ten Hag. He's a right arrogant little shit. Yeah, I know how he talks. I'm talking. I don't know how Eddie Howe talks, but they were there. Prop bridge. But no, look, seriously, I'm sure Newcastle fans will see the funny side of it. You've been called time wasters. I'd take it as a compliment. I'd take it as a compliment because he's trying to wind you up. And if he does, he's won. Finally, we've got competition for Spurs, the CGI future. I can't believe that Tesco Cup that they've won. They're not having that. You're not having 1975. No way. So he was asked about the 6-year wait for a win, and he said, great opportunity to get silverware on Sunday. Glory and honour is what football is all about. Come on, Erik ten Hag. Glory and honour. He's like bloody Russell Crowe. He's winding up. He goes from Sir Alex wind-up merchant, mind games, to Russell Crowe going into battle in Gladiator. One minute he's calling Newcastle a bunch of time wasters. And then he's going glory and honour in the final. Glory and honour. Oh, God. Wouldn't you just love to play for this manager? I mean, does it not come across so obvious why these players are playing well when you've got a manager saying it's about glory and honour? Kick in that Russell Crowe. It is like Russell Crowe. No wonder we're doing so well. I mean, that's probably his team talk. A bit of Russell Crowe. Glory and honour is what football is all about. We deserve to be in this final. The fans are waiting for this. We've got to go and win it. Oh, just what a guy. What a guy. Glory and honour. His words, not mine. Sakin says, I think Ten Hag wants the ref to be aware of their time wasting. Little things matter in a final. Mind games, and I love it. Yeah. Look, what was it Klopp said about us? United penalties. We didn't get one for about 5 months. Subconsciously, it plays on people's mind. Mark, share price will plummet if the Glazers stay. Global fan base should revolt big time if they don't do a full sale. Thank you very much for that, Marcus. Appreciate it. And what do you think about Anthony's performance yesterday to Spark FC? I thought it was all right. But I thought the goal was fantastic. And I think it's about encouraging him. And I don't know whether you've watched the interview with Anthony, because it went up very early this morning on the channel. But we had an exclusive interview with Anthony that's gone up on the channel this morning at 7 o'clock. It's well worth giving it a watch, because it's a real insight into the player. You know, there's this unfair media-driven targeting of Anthony as a showboat and everything like that. But if you watch the interview that Adam did with him at Carrington, he doesn't speak English, and the translations of the answers that he gave, he clearly gets what United's all about. He's clearly excited to be here, and I think he's a fantastic prospect, and I think we've got to get behind him. What it was, Ten Hag was also asked about the goalkeeping issue, and he came out with a brilliant point, which I think is almost the secret to Man United's recent success. It was asked about Nick Pope being out of the game and whether that plays a factor in targeting the new goalkeeper, and he said, "Look, we play our game, we play our way, and we'll test the goalkeeper anyway. It doesn't matter whether their goalkeeper's changed or not. We've got to play our way and focus on our job, and we should be testing the goalkeeper anyway. We've got to play our football, and we can't let ourselves get distracted." And I think he was referring back to the fact that, the goalkeeper may be a goalkeeper that you want to shoot. If Nick Pope's in goal, you're probably not going to shoot from 30 yards out. But with Karius in goal, you might start thinking, let's start shooting from 30 yards out. That can be very detrimental. Like, when you used to play in the school playground, maybe some of you still do. If you're over 18, be careful, you'll get locked up for that. You shouldn't be doing it. But when I used to play in the school playground, the opposition sometimes would put the shit guy in goal. And automatically, you'd be like, if I put this on target, it's going to go in. And, but if they had a decent goalie, I would never shoot. I wouldn't shoot. I'd be passing it, or if it was me, I'd normally go past, skin 4 or 5 players, get it up in the air and volley it in the bottom corner. But that's me. But reality is that can happen at the highest level as well. Nick Pope's in goal. We've got to create good chances. Karius is in goal. Oh, let's start shooting from 30 yards out, and that's detrimental to your game plan, and that's what Ten Hag's talking about. Don't start thinking about the goalie might be suspect, because you're actually making the job easier for Newcastle as you start shooting from areas that you shouldn't be shooting from. Play our game. Have the same shots that you'd have against Nick Pope that you'd have against Karius, because if you create those same chances, you'll probably score them. And it's about not being distracted. And I think that is something that we've seen with this team. And I would compliment this team and Ten Hag and say, we don't need to worry about being distracted, because we've already proven we won't be distracted. I think last night was another prime example. I think the week before in the new camp was a prime example. I think the red card for Casemiro has been an example. I think there are plenty of examples where this team has been faced by challenges that might distract them, and they don't get distracted. Like, we were 1-0 down in the first half last night for a penalty that was never a penalty. Did it distract us from the job? Did we become defined by the injustice? Whether it's a penalty or not, there's an injustice there that you feel it's not. Did we let that bother us? No. We're mentality kings under Ten Hag, and I don't think we will be distracted, because I think that's one of our strengths. I think the biggest strength of this United side, and there is echoes to, all right, it's a Wish version, it's a BTEC version, it's a Poundland version, but I look back to that 99 season, which I remember like the back of my hand. That season wasn't about Giggs' goal against Arsenal. It wasn't about the Sheringham and Solskjaer goals in the new camp against Bayern Munich. it was in the sense that those were the icing on the cake to deliver those trophies. But as Ten Hag says, you're on a journey to success. It's not, you don't just rock up into a final and score. Solskjaer has won it in 90 minutes. There's a journey to that. And that season was littered with amazing football matches. You know, beating Liverpool in the FA Cup in the third round in January with a late Solskjaer goal. The Champions League group stages against Barcelona, where we played brilliant in the Nou Camp. Countless games throughout that season that led to where we are now. And countless games where we had to, you know, work hard and dig deep and be mentally strong. And this team's done that. You know, if we win on Sunday, or you reflect last night, you go, oh, what great results they were. But there's journeys to get there, and it is about mentality. And this team, I don't think this team will get distracted. One, I don't think Ten Hag will allow it, but also I think they're well trained now in what they need to do and what their job is. And they don't get distracted. They don't get defined. I think traditionally under Solskjaer, if United went 1-0 down, you knew it was probably going to go 2-3, maybe 4. You know, heads dropped. We had no mentality. We were weak. We were bottlers. This team doesn't have that. It's a reflection. And I think teams are a reflection of their manager, by the way, and their captain. And I think that the way that United are now, I'd be very surprised if we did get distracted. Obviously, we're going to lose. We're going to lose some games at some point this season. But I don't think we're going to lose games because we get distracted or, you know, we stop being what we're meant to be. And I just want to get this trophy won on Sunday. Again, for me, it'll probably be a really good game, but I want to get it won. And I think, you know, this game will be big. This game will be massive for Ten Hag. He knows the importance of winning a trophy, of resetting it. But it's not just that. You know, the last 6 years have got nothing to do with him. As fans, we've carried that, but it's got nothing to do with him. But winning a trophy, the first trophy he can win, the first trophy of the season, will be a major statement. And also, as well, these players, most of them haven't won anything for Manchester United. It's a winner's medal. It's a trophy. If Arsenal win the league, who would you give the manager of the season to, assuming United manage to win at least one trophy? Well, we'll see what happens, Anand, because at the moment, people are starting to talk about Rashford winning Player of the Year over Haaland, and I think it's too early to decide that, and it's too early to decide Manager of the Month as well. Rob's just gifted 5 United Stand memberships as well. And also, just I think another good point is that I think the manager reflects the team and the team reflects the manager. One thing I've noticed about Man United is I think it goes beyond the manager. I think the way that we communicate as a football club, communications, media, social media, I think it's become what Ten Hag is. You know, is Ten Hag the sort of guy who's on Instagram? He might be, but he's, you know, that's not, he wants to be professional. He wants to be recognised and remembered for winning football matches. He wants to be respected for being a top-class coach. And I think he feeds that into the team, and I think he feeds that into the club, because I don't notice these winning team photos in training anymore. They might still happen. Maybe some people will tell me they are happening. I don't notice the dancing in the dressing room anymore. Maybe it still happens, maybe I don't notice it. But for a long time, our football club was known for winning games on the training ground and dancing around in the training, in Carrington or in the dressing room. There was this "we're having a laugh" mentality. And I've heard this from a few people, and we're clearly seeing the evidence of it now. And I've been holding on for it for a bit because you never know when it's going to start creeping back in. But Ten Hag went into that club and basically said, we have a reputation for having a laugh. We have a reputation for, you know, brand exposure and having a laugh and making the fans feel, yeah, look at me, look at me, look at me. But that's not success. We need a reputation for being successful. And when we win, there will be times where we can be having a laugh in the dressing room and having a dance. There are videos of Ten Hag dancing when he won things with Ajax. And I think it's not just the team, it's the club. The club has embraced what Ten Hag is about as well. We're not so cringy with some of what we're doing in the media. We're not so cringy with what we're doing on the training ground. There is a professionalism to what we do. You still see the players smiling and having a laugh and, you know, pulling the hat off Garnacho when he's training and stuff like that. But there's less of this winning team stuff, less of the dancing. Nothing wrong with dancing, by the way. I just think it's about professionalism. Are you going to dance because you've beaten Barcelona last night? No, we've got a cup final on Sunday. We'll dance at the end of the season. And I think that is I think that's a reflection. Not cringe is a good word, Mark, says Devon. Well, I think it's cringy. I never liked it. I never liked the whole winning team stuff. You know, you get smashed at the weekend, and then on Tuesday you're getting a picture going up on United socials of Ronaldo and co going like this because they've won a game in training. I'm sorry, it's completely out of touch, and it caters to a very select few fans when the vast majority were pissed off with the way the club was being run. We want to be professional, and I guarantee you, United are selling more training tops now than they were a year ago, even though they're trying to sell training tops with the winning team photos, because the club is professional and it's going places. Fans aren't stupid. Fans aren't convinced by, you know, social media, TikTok attitudes. Football fans are influenced by teams that play good football. And I think Ten Hag and the club are in sync. Beat Barca, then lose to Newcastle. Couldn't see it, bro, says Adam. Respect to Newcastle. We'll preview it at 8 o'clock. They're a good side, but I think our biggest enemy in this game is going to be tiredness. You know, Newcastle have had 8 days off. We're going to have 2 days off. Will he make changes to that team? If we can pick the same team from last night and they're fresh, I fancy us to win. Can he pick that same team from last night? Will he pick the same team from last night? Will he be forced to make a change, like change his centre-backs, you know, change something in the midfield, lose a player like Rashford? Those things will have a big impact. Newcastle's big opportunity is how ready for this game are we, having had to play on Thursday night, and I think that's the only way. But we'll talk about that at 8 o'clock. Would you take Vardiel from from Red Bull, says Tarish. I like Vardiel. I like Kim Min Jae. I like Timber. I actually like Ndika at Frankfurt. Depends what we want. I think we need a right-footed centre back, and Vardiel's left. I like Bella Kotchup at Southampton as well, but he's left. Adam says, could you shout out my girlfriend Lauren? She loves the show. Shout out to Lauren from Adam and everybody here. Talk about Rashford, says Remy. Turn up on time. He thinks I'm joking. Turn up on time. We spoke about Rashford 10 minutes into the show. Turn up on time. Timber, perfect right back and centre back, says Hossam. And Newcastle looked good versus Liverpool after they went down to 10, to be honest, says Real Life. Great. Right. Thanks everyone for watching. It's been a very busy day. Is Rashford got an injury? No clear news, says Mohit. Turn up on time. No, he said we've got to wait. I don't think Rashford's going to be injured, but he said you've got to wait and see what happens with that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I am playing Twitch, Man United FIFA Career Mode at just after 3 o'clock. And we're back at 8 o'clock as well. Lindsay, welcome to the Members Club. Thanks to everyone who joins the Member Club and supports the channel, by the way. It's really appreciated. Great to see all those badges and support in there. I'm going to be back at just after 3 on Twitch, 8 o'clock tonight for the preview. I'm going to reveal a little bit of a present I've bought myself on Instagram in a minute. I've just got to get to the room to do it. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'm just about to do a story of something I'm very excited to reveal that I've always wanted, and I've treated myself to. So I'm going to show it you on my Instagram in about 5 minutes time. So at Goldbridge Mark on Instagram. Thanks everyone for watching. You're all legends, and I'll speak to you a little bit later, whether you're going to look at my Insta, join me on Twitch, or join me back here at 8 o'clock. Take care everyone. I'll speak to you in a bit.